Yo, 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 what's going on, good people? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby. Representing Team Kings of Games. And I'm hyped today, you guys. I'm actually showcasing you an update for my ZEFRA deck. I had experimentation with it. I've been tweaking it, modifying some cards here and there. Definitely just working on percentages and ratios. Just really trying to get the deck as perfect as I possibly can make it, because I was making room and preparing for the Endymion structure deck, which is coming out. I'm incorporating that into ZEFRA's. Of all the Pendulum decks I have, ZEFRA's, in my opinion, is just the best one. It's my favorite Pendulum deck, and it's actually one of my top 5 favorite decks. I think this deck has ridiculous potential just through the wazoo, man. So I tweaked it, and I wanted to do ZEFRA, Magician, Endymion, ORCUST. I have everything but the Endymion card, so I took it to locals, testing this build. I got 2nd place there. Only losing to my teammate Pankratops, he who sits on Pankratops, playing his Infernoid deck. I'm sure you guys want to see that. Definitely want to see that. His list is crazy. You guys definitely want to check that out once we get that up and get it uploaded. But yeah, basically, ZEFRA's, you guys. ZEFRA ORCUST is insane. We were putting up boards basically with just Don Draxter, Naruto, ZEFRA Divine Strike. Times I had ZEFRA Divine Strike time Pendulum Graph with Purple Poison and Scale, which were just 2 interruptions by itself, plus the Divine Strike is 3, plus Naruto makes 4, plus the Don Draxter makes 5, and then you drop Azathoth. So you literally have 5 interruptions, 4 of which are negations, and then an Azathoth that just really, they just can't play around. Twin doesn't work. I mean, they can normal Dinko, and technically speaking, they could turn off your Divine Strike, but like, it's too much to play through. Those are the kind of overwhelming and aggressive boards that I was putting up playing this deck. Like, literally, it's crazy. Oh my gosh, this deck is just nuts, you guys. And when the Endymion structure deck comes out, this deck's gonna be even more insane and disgusting. And oh my god, I'm just so hyped, bro. This deck is crazy. All right, so let's hop into my list. I'm sure you guys are very interested in what I did to make space for the huge portion of my deck that I had to dedicate, or basically dedicate for allocating slots for specific cards that are mandatory when you want to play ORCUST. ORCUST is an engine in this deck. It's not the deck itself, so I am playing like some very low ratios on ORCUST cards, and it sucks. I know. I'm a fan of ORCUST myself. I love playing as many as you possibly can. I like the deck itself by itself, but the purpose of the ORCUST was to raise the ceiling on my ZEFRA so that if anything happened to the standard plays that I have as a Pendulum player, or if just Electrum gets ogred, stuff like that, I know that I have a follow-up as long as I have 2 monsters on field, and it makes your regular boards even more insane because you have 3-4 negations plus Azathoth, which just is GG against any deck. So let's start off with the ZEFRAs. 3 copies of my Anger Translator, ZEFRA. Everything that I want to say that I can't say, he says it for me because he can't get in trouble. He's head and shoulders above a lot of people. He's just an insanely powerful card. The most flexible of all the scales in your deck. He can be high or low. He has no restriction, unlike the other ZEFRAs who do have restrictions while they're played in scale. He literally is a negation by itself. Just being able to have him in circulation, he keeps your ZEFRA News floating around from your deck to your extra deck onto the field, generating that +1 because you get a scale pays for itself. ZEFRA New pays for itself, and you get a counter trap. So just off of having Zervath, you basically generate 3 different cards, which technically, in terms of card economy, should be a +2 because 1 card got you 3. But I just consider +1. This card's insane. It's aggressive. Oftentimes like it makes or breaks your board. Basically, it makes or breaks the I would say the potential of your board, because your board is going to be incredible with him, but without him, it's not the same, and that's what I've noticed. So I really am very desperate to get to my Zervath as quickly as possible. If I do not open with it, but I have a way to make Electrum, I will use Electrum to send this card. I'm just hoping for the best that Electrum doesn't get stopped. But the beauty of it is if everything gets stopped, as long as you have 2 cards on field, 2 monsters on field, like it's happened, like where Electrum got Impermanence and then Harmonizing Magician got Ash Blossom, but he literally chained Valor to ZEFRA Neo. Like, so the way I had a chain block, I had ZEFRA Neo as Chainlink 1 and Harmonizing as Chainlink 2. It's like he chained Ash to Harmonizing and Valor to ZEFRA Neo. So my Electrum got Impermanence, my ZEFRA Neo got Valor, so no negate from there. Ash Blossom on Harmonizing. I was like, oh, well, thank God I'm playing ORCUST. Still did the full combo. It's nuts. But yeah, anyways, 3 ZEFRA. This card is insane. It's the best scale in your deck. 3 ZEFRA Neo, the lifeblood of your deck. When you're playing ZEFRAs, just keep in mind that he is the most important monster as far as your Pendulum Summoning goes. You don't want to commence with the Pendulum Summon unless he's one of the monsters being summoned. I feel that if you are not summoning him, either it's just like you didn't have access to him or you are making the incorrect play. This card is arguably the most important monster to summon in your deck. Pendulum summoning him by himself, if you have awkward hands, he can easily search Oracle or ZEFRA Providence, which can then search a ZEFRA monster that you can normal, and you can either do Electrum, which typically in those hands, I'll do Electrum just to send Chronos so I can get a draw before I do the Mermaid play. But either way, just Penalty Summoning him by itself is the ORCUST combo. But you get to make Electrum first, get the draw, generate that advantage, and then do the ORCUST combo. So just him by itself can get access to a lot of the different plays that you want to make in this deck. And then the rest of the ZEFRAs that I am playing are one-ups, because I find that they're not as important as ZEFRA Neo is. And in addition to that, a hand with only ZEFRAs is very restrictive. Well, a hand with a majority of ZEFRAs is very restrictive because they are the only thing that you can Pendulum Summon. If they happen to be the only scales that are available to you at the time, it's going to be very, very detrimental for you because you're restricted on what you can do. You normally are still able to do the ORCUST combo, but that is a very linear play, and if they just have the out to the Mermaid, then you're just kind of going to have to pass. So you definitely want to minimize on the other ZEFRAs that are not ZEFRA Neo because they're not as pivotal, but at the same time, they have applications that are very relevant in particular scenarios where you just really need the interaction that they provide, like the spot removal from the Teller Knights, the recursion that she provides, and the ability to just chain block and make your ZEFRA Neo or any other ZEFRA that you choose to be a tuner is very much so relevant. It forces your opponent to have a Veiler, or you will get your counter trap, and you will have that negation no matter what. So moving forward from the ZEFRA monsters, which we're playing 10 ZEFRAs, and then a vast majority of your spells and traps are ZEFRAs as well, because their spells and traps are really insane. A reason why I feel like they're just better than Magicians, because they have a lot more utility. They have a lot more ways to get access to their cards. Magicians kind of just have Pendulum Call and that's it, whereas ZEFRAs can play so many more cards that enable you to start your combo. So they have more starters, more extenders, and a lot more utility. So I just feel that they have a wider variety of options for themselves. But I also feel that when you're playing Magicians in ZEFRAs, your ceiling is just exponentially increased because the Magicians themselves, even though I'm playing a compact Magician package, the Magicians themselves are just really relevant and really just dominant and powerful. Purple Poison in particular is actually my favorite of all the Magicians. Not Harmonizing, but Purple Poison. I originally played 3 of this in my ZEFRA list. Like before I started incorporating Magicians, I always played 3 purple because I just really love Purple Poison. I think it's a great card. I know the other Magician or Pendulum players like Triff and also Mitchell don't really necessarily think that purple's that great at like more than 1 or 2, but I really just love the card. It's really, really incredible. And by the way, like this card just doodles all over, like particularly I would say control decks and stun decks like Guru Control and Dracos and Evil Eye and stuff like that. Purple Poison just doodles all over them. Black Fang's incredible for the simple fact that Summon Sorceress is a spellcaster, and you have that interaction where you could just bring her back, and she is a Link 3 that you can do anything you want with, which is just very relevant for me personally. And then Harmonizing is just the nuts. She's kind of one of the inspirations for me even putting Pendulum Call into my deck originally, because resolving Pendulum Call is already a negation by itself. So you have that. Harmonizing is also incredible bait for Effect Veiler. Like if your opponent doesn't have the Ash, but they have the Veiler, especially because they don't really know that you're playing ORCUST in your deck, they will Veiler Harmonizing. But if they don't Veiler Harmonizing and they save it for Mermaid, see, are you guys kind of catching it? That's the problem with this deck, is that there's too much to stop, and you're forced to open with 3 to 4 hand traps if you want the turn to be put to a complete halt, which is very nearly impossible, but it can happen. Like some decks like Sound Migrates that play that many hand traps could, but it's like you have to open so many hand traps and then a full combo that can OTK and break my board. Otherwise, there's just too much that's going to be going on. Like, it's crazy. Like I was saying with like the interaction where Impermanence on Electrum was like, okay, Ash on Harmonizing, Veiler on ZEFRA Neo. It's like, okay, all right, that's crazy. That's enough. And then we're still doing the ORCUST combo. So it's like just the morale of your opponent being depleted, them thinking that they could stop your turn with 3 hand traps and just being locked out of the game. Just, it's crazy. So yeah, I think this deck isn't fair. I think it's incredible. I think that if people were just playing ZEFRA ORCUST with the Magicians, they would find like it's one of the highest ceiling decks that you could probably play. And honestly, it's not like, oh, just because it didn't topple YCS doesn't make it not a good deck. It's just people have to play it. There's no representation, we won't know. But yeah, I think it's not fair, but at the same time, you're not supposed to be fair in this day and age in Yu-Gi-Oh! Nobody's being fair, so why should we? And then our turbo cards are 3 Chronograph. We have 3 Master Service. Master Service puts in work 1 second. The fact that he just can't be destroyed with spell counters is nuts. And then just banishing the spot removal is very good. Double Jackal King. I've always liked the ratio of the 2 and 3. 2 Dankworm and then 1 Cheerio. I had to cut back. I was originally playing 3 of this and 2 of this, but fitting other cards, I felt that I was more comfortable taking copies of cards that I already played versus taking stuff completely out of my deck, which really hurts. And then we have the Time Gazer, and then also a Morphage Sloth. So I've been playing this card for about, I'd say 10 months now. It also was in my list that I took to Nationals last year. So it's going on 12 months because I went to Nationals in June, and we're coming to June very soon. But yeah, I've been playing Sloth in my Zephyrs for a long time. I've never really had any bad, I haven't had any bad experiences with this card. I think that is really incredible. Just the fact that you can do everything you need. Like, for example, like, the best board I made with this was when I resolved Electrum, I grabbed this. I had it normal summoned. I grabbed this from my extra deck, and I kept it in my hand. I did everything that I possibly could. I got ZEFRA, the Divine Strike of the Zephyrs. I got their Counter Trap. I put out Naruto. I was putting out Naruto like crazy. I put out Naruto. I got the Counter Trap. I did my ORCUST combo. I set up for Azathoth. And then what I did was I tribute my Summon Sorceress to tribute summon for a Morphage Sloth. And the reason why I was still allowed to do that, my opponent tried to say you can't because you're under only Darks, is the ORCUST say you can only special summon Darks. They never said you can't normal summon a non-Dark. So the tribute summon was counted as a normal. And my opponent was very salty at the fact that he had to play through the negations and not having access to monster effects and then not being able to summon from his extra deck because he wasn't playing a Morphages. So, like, there's just some really unfair stuff you could do with this deck. It's not overhyping it. It's not lying or exaggerating on how good the deck is. This deck really is that good. In fact, let's see. We're 11 minutes in. I'm going to do a test hand real quick at the end of the video. So for the ORCUST, as you can see, it's very small, very compact. Yeah, like I wanted to play more, but they really are bricks for this deck because you need scales. Scales are more relevant. If it was a perfect world, I would, the best hand is not drawing any of these. So I wanted to minimize on all of them because I just really want to draw them. The same with the Phantom Knight. 4 Rusty Bardies to resolve his effect. You need to send one from deck, so you need to have one. And then also Destrudo. I've always played it in Zefras, but it also has utility for the ORCUST combos. Because if you have an awkward hand and you can't do the play that you need, like, for example, if there were times when the only resources I had to make Mermaid were Electrum plus one of the negation boss monsters that I had out, and that really sucked. So Destrudo just really helped me to be able to just use other cards to make Mermaid without sacrificing, like, the negation monsters that I had out. Which were relevant. Like, one time I was thinking about getting rid of Jackal King, but at the same time, I wanted to keep him because of Pancratops. I was just preparing for everything. But yeah, these are all the non-pendulums. Now for the spells, which is probably one of the bread and butter portions of the deck. I find that the spells have, like, access to... The spells give you access to every starter card in your deck, and they provide the most versatile utility, I would say, that, just... in regards to the spells, compared to the monsters, the spells just provide more utility for you. We have 3 Oracle of ZEFRA. It searches out any ZEFRA monster. It's mandatory in activation. It has 4 other amazing effects that I can't use all 4, but I can use the XYZ, I can use the Fusion, and I can use the Synchro. Those are the most relevant ones. Those are the only ones that I've ever used, and they're all insane effects. This field spell is nuts. You can actually make plays where you can basically stack a monster on top of your deck and then draw it off Electrum. So you can search any monster with this card, which I haven't done in a while, but I was doing it a lot of Nationals. Like, when I knew that I needed Droll and Lockbird, I stacked Droll and Lockbird and drew it. The Stardust Charge Warrior back in the day with Maxi was relevant too. We have 3 ZEFRA Providence. It searches out any ZEFRA card. Literally, it's that good. The Zefras have this, and they have Terraforming, which gives them ample consistency, which allows you to do the same thing in a repetitious manner. 3 copies of Duelist Alliance. It has utility purposes, being that it's generally resolving this means that you're going to have multiple negations, but also for the hands, when you draw Pendulum Call on this, instead of having to discard this for cost off call, you can search Time Pendulum Graph, which I'm a believer in this card. I don't know why Magician players don't run it. I haven't seen Pendulum Magicians playing it in a while, but it's not to say that, oh, there's just like whoever plays this is just better than the other person. It's just I don't understand the logic on not playing this one of. It's not really a brick if you're playing Magicians, because if you don't have Magicians in your hand, it's not really like, I feel like that's a brick in itself, but it's a really good card. It helps to solve a lot of problems, especially the Dinko problem. Like, when I knew that Dinko was prevalent in the matchup that I was paired against, I would just activate this on draw phase. I would just activate it, and I'm like, if they have a Ghost Ogre, I can interact with the Ghost Ogre, but also, if I can drop Azathoth first, it doesn't even matter. But yeah, Time Pendulum Graph's insane, so just Duelist Alliance also provides the option for not only putting out negations, but putting out the disruption that allows you to answer floodgates that can be in your way. Like, this Underpillow Claw is insane, just popping a card, then sending a card on the field to the graveyard, which bypasses Colossus protection, and just that with Purple Poison double pops. It's insane, you guys. This deck is really good. 3 Dragon Shrine. I actually am a believer in 3. The way I see cards that are hard ones return that are really this good, I don't care if I draw multiples. I just really need to draw it. I don't care if I have to draw, like, I wouldn't cut consistency cards that enable me to do the same thing over and over, that provide a lot of versatile plays, and oftentimes they're just powerful starter cards just because, oh, I'm scared of drawing 2. That's like saying, I don't want to play 3 Ray because I can only summon Ray once per turn. I don't want to play 3 Extravagance because I can only resolve 1. That just, it doesn't make sense. I've never really believed in that logic. I don't know why people say that. 2 Terraformings. It's just going to search out your Dragon's Ravine or your Orchestrated Babel. For some reason, you need to search it, but oftentimes you just go for ZEFRA, the Oracle ZEFRA. Set Rotation is very clutch. I've played it just forever. Man, I wish the card was at 3. Forget countering Evenlings. We know that that's possible. What's really good about this card is locking Sky Strikers and Salamangreats out of their field spell zone, because if you give them Oracle, they can't activate it because they're not playing Zephyrs, so they can't do it. So this card is very clutch. It's really good. Playing Dragon's Ravine in your deck allows you to have the option where your Terraformings oftentimes become turbo cards for Electrum because they get Dark Worm in the grave, and oftentimes also makes Terraforming a negate no matter how you look at it, because it's either going to get you Dark Worm and Strudel, which make negates, or it's going to get you Oracle, which gives you a counter trap. So Terraforming is insane. We have 1 Foolish, 1 of the rank up to sum up the 1-ups for the spells, and then the traps I'm playing 4. 2 Divine Strikes. I've never really liked playing 1. In my original list, I played 3 of this and 9 Pillars. I love the counter traps. Like, drawing them is really good because when you search another one, that's just more negations for you to put out. But I had to cut down on a lot of cards, so I cut this down to 2. I'm not playing 9 Pillars because I never leave Zephyr Neo on the field anymore. 1 Time Pendulum Graph, it's just it's the nuts. And don't forget, it has protection for your spellcasters to not be targeted by traps. That is relevant in certain scenarios. And then the Shade Brigadine. It just really is so useful. Sometimes you don't need to make Azathoth, but just having that Redoer with a trap under him as a material is really, really nice, you guys. It's very, very clutch. Let's see. Let's go ahead and let's do side deck first. Then we'll get into the extra deck. So I started siding triple Lava Golem. Even when I take Zephyrs, because I play Zephyrs competitively. I really love this deck. It's one of my favorites. I think that I'm going to start playing Lava Golems over Spear Molds. I played Spear Molds in my original Zephyr lists, like almost all of them. When I saw my Spear Molds, I was thinking about picking them back up and playing them again. But more and more, I started realizing that I really have trouble getting over the Spear Mold that I give my opponent. I know it's crazy, right? It's sad that, like, my intent is to break their board, but then I give them a card that I can't get over. So it's like I'm kind of in the same scenario, except I can play Yu-Gi-Oh! But it really sucks when you give your opponent a turn because you just couldn't get over your own Spear Mold. Like, you can with certain hands, but it's not every time. But with Lava Golem, it helps in time. It helps with Boar Sword pushes because it has a lot of attack. And also, in addition to that, it's easy to get over. And if you draw multiples, you can resolve both of them. And sacrificing your normal summon is a necessary evil sometimes, because when you have to resolve this, oftentimes you're not even able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So you kind of just have to sacrifice your normal summon so that you can play. Luckily, you have the Pendulum mechanic to back you up, so it's not the worst. We have 3 copies of Phantasme. Oftentimes, I just really needed this to shuffle my bricks back. And then also, I really don't like Impermanence or Valor on Electrum. I don't like it. I like Electrum to resolve. I can't do much about Ogre unless I have the Jackal King Chronograph play, but this really it really helps from them targeting my Electrum. We have 3 Denko Sekka for the Striker and the Salamangreat matchup. 3 Evenlings because my deck can take a turn off. I don't have to OTK you. I can blow you out with Evenly and put up a board that just doesn't let you play. Once you see the writing on the wall, people are either going to try to slow play for time or scoop. And then 3 Reboots. Reboot is just a win condition. I even sided against Strikers because I don't like when they flip up Summon Limit and there can only be 1. So I'll reboot them because I know I can blow them out. Like, when this deck puts out the boards it can make, like, when this deck is allowed to do what it's supposed to do, a lot of decks, the best decks really just can't keep up. Like, I really don't see a way of even, like, Salamangreats or, like, Danger Thunder or Strikers. Like, can you explain to me in the comment sections how, without a really random, like, amazing Spear Mode Evenly Reboot hand, like, outside of Spear Mode Evenly Reboot, how can they out, like, Divine Strike, Naruto, Don Dragster, and, like, Azathoth? Or like, the other one where it's, like, it's Naruto, Divine Strike, Amorphate, Sloth, and Azathoth. Like, stuff like that where, like, no monster effects, no extra deck, and then negate. That's just crazy. Anyways, extra deck, we're playing Electrum, Galatea, the Link 2s that started all. And then Phoenix, we're playing, that's it for the Link 2s. We're playing Rusty, Decode Talker. Decode's important. Decode's very important, in fact. Really, I like it going second more than I like going first. In Sky Striker matchup, they do have a chance of just hard drawing multi-roll. And while you'll have the negations for it sometimes, there are often times like where it happens where like you negate multi-roll and then they have engage and you're like, oh crap, I just burnt through my negates. Then they get multi-roll anyways and then they start picking your board apart. And they don't need monster effects to do that. So like Decode is really better going second for me, but I really like the card a lot. Summon Sorceress, Longaritsu to sum up the Link 3s. We have Mermaid. Mermaid's a god card. Boral Sword. Boral Sword is the only Link 4 I play. It's the only one that matters. And then for the XYZs, I play Naruto, Azathoth, Redoor, and Abyss Dweller. Now, Abyss Dweller is super easy to make before you go into your ORCUST combo. I only really made Dweller. Well, I would only make it against like Salamangreats and like Dracos. But like if I don't know what I'm playing, I blind Dweller turn 1. I always do it. It's just the smartest way to do it. Like you can Dweller and then do. You normally like Dweller, Divine Strike, and Azathoth still really, really strong against like everything that's not strikers. But if you don't know what you're playing, it's just like the safer play to make because there's so much that you don't have to negate if you just have Dweller up. It's just insane. Really, it's super unfair in the matchups that it's relevant. And then these are the only 2 synchros that I had room for. My extra deck's a lot more synchro heavy and oriented. Like the Calamities combo, as you guys can see, Calamities ain't here, but I have Azathoth to replace it. We're not doing Gotham's hand looping. There's no Black Rose. There's a lot of cards that I can play, but have to sacrifice what I want for what I need. All right, so now at this point, you guys don't have to watch the video anymore. The profile is pretty much over. What I'm doing is I'm doing a test hand really quick because, you know, sometimes when you say stuff like this, you have to be able to back it up. So I understand that there might be people that are skeptical. It's not to say like, oh, you're being negative or you're a bad person or anything. It's just I understand skeptics exist. People just sometimes just don't, like, they don't go with everything that people say, and I understand that. So I'll show you the proof right now with a random test hand. And, yeah, again, I recommend that if you don't want to watch this, don't, because the combos are really long. Like, they really are. Like, your standard ZEFRA combos, especially with the Magicians implemented into the deck as an engine, your turns are already long by themselves before the ORCUST combo. Then the ORCUST combo takes a lot of time, too. So just one test hand. I know I can only do one because I know how long it's going to take. So, yeah, I definitely recommend that you guys, if you're watching this video, just, if you want to see the test hand, stick around. But if you don't, yeah, I don't blame you. So let's go ahead and get a really, really good shuffle because I definitely don't want to draw, like, for example, you know, like triple, I don't know, like 3 of something that I really don't want to draw. And I definitely don't want to draw, like, all of the ORCUST monsters in those scales. That's my worst nightmare in this deck. That's why I'm playing one of each of them. I don't mind I don't mind drawing one, but really, they just, I can't afford to brick on those. So let's see what we've got. We've got ZEFRA Neo, we've got Time Gazer, we've got ZEFRA Saiton, Dragon Shrine, and Master Service. Now, all 3 of these are really bad. Like, these are not good cards. They're not, I don't like drawing him, but when you don't have Zefrath and you draw him, it's still good. But these are all bad. These are bricks. These really suck. So the 2 cards that make this hand amazing are these. These right here. Dragon Shrine and Service. But because we have, even if it was a Service, just opening Dragon Shrine, your hand is just going to be insane. I'll show you guys. So we're going to Dragon Shrine for our Dark Worm. So Dark Worm's going to hit the grave. We're going to activate Dark Worm in grave. We're going to summon him. I normally summon him in the even number columns. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use him to make Electrum anyways. And then with Electrum, you always want to put him here. Just for me personally, it's more comfortable. And whatever you summon from your extra deck, make sure you put it in his zone that's the farthest to the left. Or if you're over here, farthest to the right. So when you jump zones and do Summon Sorceress, you have nothing that's sitting in Summon Sorceress' zone that will stop you or prohibit you from even using her effect. Just really be careful with that, because that's a mistake that can honestly just cost you the duel by itself. So let's go ahead and do... Where's Gate 0 at? I'm trying to find Gate 0. It's somewhere in here. There it is. There it is. All right, so we add Gate 0. Next, we're going to activate Service. The fact that we're making Electrum before we normal summon is incredible, because now I can do my basic combo. I can do basically whatever I want, and I can go for Amorphate Sloth if I just really want to be mean. which I do want to be mean because nobody wants to play fair Yu-Gi-Oh with me, so I'm not going to play fair either. You got to fight cheese with cheese, man. So Jackal King, bring out Service, link those two, and make Electrum. Now, if you fear Ogre, you don't have to activate his effect because you can still play without his effect Ascend, and then you could just Pendulum Summon first and then use his effect to add something back so you can just get extra resources, but this is a test hand. So next what we're going to do, look at that, look at that, look at the bottom. That's crazy, dude, that's crazy. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to determine what matters more, Sloth, Chronograph, Harmonizing, ZEFRA. Obviously not another Jackal King because we're going to make Azathoth anyways. So there's a lot of things that we can send right now. Like Chronograph would allow us to Pendulum Summon out the Jackal King and the Chronograph to make Naruto. I like making Naruto a lot before I do Azathoth because it just helps to counter the Twin Twisters and stuff like that, and it counters evenly. But I think what I probably want to do here, especially since we made Electrum before we normaled, is I want to go ahead and... No, unfortunately, I need a good high scale. That's what I need. I'm lacking a good high scale. That's unfortunate. I just caught that, and because I just realized that we're missing a good high scale, I think what I'm probably going to have to do is just send ZEFRA, which is what I want originally, because ZEFRA's a great card. And then we're going to go ahead and activate ZEFRA Saitan. We're going to activate him, and we're going to pop him with Electrum, then we're going to add ZEFRA, and then we're going to draw a card. We drew another ZEFRA. And next up, we'll go ahead and scale gate 0, and we'll scale ZEFRA. Since we did normal, I suppose there's something else we can do later, but we'll figure this out. We're going to go ZEFRA. Since we already have a ZEFRA Neo, we could technically go for ZEFRA Windy, but there's really no like good target for her. But I suppose we could just do it anyways if you just want to get more advantage. So we'll send ZEFRA Windy. Now he's a scale 7. Be wary of how much you Pendulum Summon, because sometimes Pendulum Summoning for 5 can restrict the ORCUST portion. But what I'm going to go ahead and do here is, knowing that I'm going to go ahead and link off with these, I'm going to summon the Windy. I'm going to drop Jackal King. We're going to put Jackal King over there because we don't want to link off with him. And from hand, we're going to drop ZEFRA Neo and also Time Gazer. And then we're going to trigger this as Chain Link 2 and this is Chain Link 1. We're going to add Saitan back. And then we're going to resolve him. And we're going to grab ZEFRA Providence. Yeah, we're going to grab Providence so that we can get some spell counters on that Jackal King. Then we'll go ahead and activate Providence, put 2 counters on him, and grab our counter trap, Divine Strike. And then keep in mind, we haven't normal summoned yet, which really does matter, because there's something that I really want to make sure that I can put up the best board I can before I go into the ORCUST. So I'd say, let's do this. Let's go ahead. Yeah, that was an awkward hand, and honestly, it was. Let's go ahead and take, with my extra deck, the way it looks, I want to make a rank 4. So I suppose, yeah, I suppose. So what we can do here is, instead of bringing out Jackal King, we could just summon out the Dark Worm. Because I think that Dweller is just stronger than Jackal King, especially because we're going to make Azathoth anyways. And so now we've established that, we can proceed with our plays accordingly. So what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and take Electrum and Windy and see how he's in the in even column. That's really important. So we'll take Electrum and Windy and Time Gazer. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna take all of those because we actually need all that space over there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make Decode Talker. We're gonna normal summon. We're gonna make Decode Talker over here again. We're gonna normal summon Saitan because we have not normal summoned for turn yet. We're gonna overlay these two, and we're gonna make Dweller. So we have Divine Strike and Dweller. Then we're gonna take Decode and ZEFRA Neo, and we're gonna go ahead and do the ORCUST combo now. Now we're gonna take Phoenix. We're gonna link it. We're gonna discard this for cost for the Mermaid. And if you were scared that your opponent actually knew what deck you were playing and they were holding Ash for Mermaid, then you just leave. the Jackal King. I mean, there's like just so many like intricacies about it. There's so many options. It's crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had 3 bad cards in hand, and the 2 turbo cards saved me. But if I opened basically 5 3-ofs, because all my 3-ofs are insane. If I open a hand with 5 3-ofs, it's crazy. Like, because my 3-ofs are where it's at. And if I open only 3-ofs and not 1-ofs, which is realistically possible, especially when you consider the probability and statistic aspect of just Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, you have a higher chance of drawing a 3-of. That would be insane. Just always drawing 3-ofs in this deck is incredible. So now we're going to go and make Galatea. We're going to resolve our Nightmare. Targeting Dweller, it doesn't really matter. We're going to send Heartpourer, wherever that boy is. Send Harp, and we're going to banish Harp. We're going to bring out Skeletor. We're going to link with these 2. I always save Galatea, her effect to recycle, until I've resolved Skeletor, so I can put Skeletor back, because he matters more than the rest of them. Banish this, bring her back, then use her to put this back into our deck and go ahead and grab our field spell. The field spell is really important. Set and activate Babel. It lets you get your follow-ups on your opponent's turn to dodge, called by, shark cannons, and etc. And then summon Sork, target that, bring out World Wand. Then we're going to link. We're going to go ahead and make Rusty. We're going to activate World Wand to bring this guy back. We're going to use Rusty. And keep in mind that the Phantom Knight Shade Brigadine and the Phantom Knight's rank up launch actually can be searched by Ancient Cloak. I know some people think that you can't, but you actually, yes, you can. You can search them off of Cloak, which is really good. Cloak says, the Phantom Knight's card. These are what the Phantom Knight's cards. Just so that you don't get somebody like, you know, going super hard trying to like start an argument in the comments. Yes, you can. Activate, and then we're going to banish him and search the rank up. And let's see. So Banish Zone can be, we'll just keep Banish Zone where it is. I guess that looks fine. We'll overlay these into Redoer. And obviously Redoer is an interruption by itself, but we're going to activate his monster effect. We're going to banish him to the end phase. And you guys already know how this is going to happen. As a thought today, we're going to set the Divine Strike. Divine Strike has 3 targets in our extra deck. I'm sorry, 2, because 1's a material. So we have a negate for anything. We have Dweller, and we also have no Yu-Gi-Oh! For you. So if you're playing Simon Greats, they lost. If you're playing Danger Thunder Dragons, they lost. If you're playing Sky Strikers, it sucks because you didn't know you were playing them and you made Dweller. But when I play Sky Strikers, I like to keep Redoer up and just keep grinding with him. And whenever I feel the need, I'll make Azathoth with him. But yeah, this is still insane because this is an interruption. This is a pop with Azathoth being another just stun card. So you have 1, 2, 3 interrupts plus Azathoth. That's still insane. That's the final. That's the only test hand I'm gonna do because everything. It's just gonna take too long, man. Honestly, you guys want to see more combos and test hands and all that? Save it for another video. I'll get it done eventually. It's on my to-do list because I'm pretty sure people are gonna ask for it, and we'll get to that when we can, but everything's in chronological order, meaning first come, first serve. So everything that was asked for of me before this is going to have to be done first. But with that said, thank you guys very much for watching the video. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Don't do drugs. Stay positive, all right? Y'all have a beautiful day, okay? Be safe. Peace.